There they go. Thank you.
Thank you, Rachel. Ken Koski, I am present. Josh Hendrickson. Here. Victoria Ratliff.
Here.
Chrissy Robertson, absent. Dave Windisch.
Here.
Vicki Noblet.
Here.
Danny Causey.
Here.
Christy Locke, absent. Nick Crisafulli, absent. We have a quorum, so we'll proceed. You've all had a chance to review the minutes from the last meeting. Are there any questions on those? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve them.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Dave,
Second.
second by Josh. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, thank you. We'll move on to the committee reports. I'll tell you a little bit about what the Community Art Committee discussed last time. We talked about, now that the Veterans Alley is done, potentially doing a companion piece, a metal sculpture or some type of art on the opposite side of the alley now that the brick is done. So it'd be a freestanding metal structure of some sort that would pay tribute to our country's 250th anniversary. So Dana and many others sit on our county's 250th committee, and there's going to be a parade, there's going to be merchandise, all kinds of things. But we also want to do some type of public community art to commemorate that occasion, and we thought that that might be an appropriate thing to do. I'll let the record show that Nick has arrived.
You're on the record. I know.
So that's one possibility that we would work on. Anything else from that last meeting, Dana, that we need to highlight?
No, I think those are the main things. We have a meeting right after this one, and we'll kind of get some things firmed up.
All right, we can move over to Committee Report B, and Josh will tell us what the Program Committee has been up to.
So it's that time of the year again to confirm that
Dana
you're
is confirming
human.
she's a human.
Yeah, I have to confirm. Sorry, guys. Hopefully this works. Oh, look, it was correct. I am a human.
So we're opening up the call for banners again this year. This will be the first time that we are going back to somewhere that has already had banners. So these banners are the RFPs for East and West Court Streets, South Main, and, or is it, yeah, South Main and North Main, is that right?
South Main and North Main,
Yeah.
and I'll need to revise this because I forgot to put south as well as North Main.
So that, those are the banners that were the first banners that we did 3 years ago, 4 years ago. I don't have that exact.
3. Yeah.
So those banners are not actually weathered. They look really nice. The main issue with those is they are a different size. Since that point, we've changed the, not the dimensions, they're the same size that you see there, those rectangle shapes, but they are just larger now. So we're gonna make the change, finally rip the Band-Aid off and have all of our banners that same size. So I believe Dana shared that from the PAX account, not that, earlier this week. So hopefully, you know, we will be seeing some submissions soon. Pretty much the same as normal as far as what we're looking for and things like that. But please share that with any artists that you know, so we can have another great round of submissions. It looks like the rest of what the programming committee has been up to is under new business coming up. So I don't know if Dana wants to take over that or if there's anything else we need to say about the banners.
I also did send this out via email to everyone who has submitted banners in the last few years, whether they were selected or not. We obviously would want to encourage people to continue, Dustin, to continue submitting. We picked yours the first time around with those, yeah. So anyway, we will be doing that. The one thing that I do want to add, because just so that everybody's on the same page and knows, the ones on Jefferson Street, because it is the 250th, we will be doing the special banners again like we did for the bicentennial. Dave has been working on some pretty cool designs. Do you want to just real quickly tell us your thoughts, or not that I'm
We'll
putting
be
you on the
presenting
spot?
designs for Jefferson Street.
Dave is working on some really cool ideas.
Well, I'm waiting to find time to work with David Pfeiffer to make sure we're selecting the correct photos. So, and our schedules have not aligned in
Exactly.
8 weeks now, so
That makes sense.
they will.
Dave,
Yes, sir.
how do these differ from, obviously, we're going to do 250th for King Street as well. How do these differ? Is it a different concept?
No, we will not be doing the 250th on King Street.
So we will not be doing 250 for King Street.
Yeah, the 250th banners will be just Jefferson, just like they were for the bicentennial.
Just Jefferson, like the bicentennial.
I'm going to not call on Dave anymore, for the record. Thank you, Dave and Dana.
But yeah, but those are just gonna be for that year, so then, that would be 2026. 2027, we'll be able to go back to that artwork, so that is up this year. So having that year's break, a lot of times people come back and go, oh, look, we have brand new banners.
But the other banners that you're calling for artists, will they be only 2026?
No,
or-
they will be,
For
they will be.
however long, okay.
However long they last.
Jefferson Street will have banners that are unique for 2026.
Right.
But no other area will be affected.
Does this include, since we're having them for like long-term, would we also pick out ones for Jefferson Street that would go after, or will we just deal with that
We'll use the ones,
later?
because the ones that are up on Jefferson Street now, this is their first year.
Oh, okay, okay.
So they'll
They've
probably
got
have 3 or
time.
4
Okay.
years lifespan.
All right, anything else from the program committee? All right, we can move on to new business. Dana and others have been working on an app that was called Pocket Sites. It's now called Story, spelled STQRY.
Okay.
So Dana, do you want to tell us a little bit about
Sure,
the
yeah.
walking tour?
Yeah, so essentially, as you guys know, this has been one of the things that has been on our to-do list, our plan for several years as a project is to create a public art walking tour. We'd looked at a number of different products, different ideas, kind of settled on this one with your approval and final decisions today, obviously. But essentially, we've had a couple meetings with these folks. So I'm going to give you the very short version of what they gave to us. Dave is thanking me very much. Essentially, this is a web-based application. This is a program where they host us. So this is kind of a hosting fee. They have a very robust tours and robust back-end system. We create the content, we own the content, we make complete decisions on what goes up, what goes down. They provide analytics as part of this so that we will be knowing who is using it, who is not using it, who is coming in, what times a day, so we can do all of the things very similar to what we do when we use the Placer data that Festival Country provides us, so we can kind of understand those things. We can change things, move them up, move them down, et cetera. One of the things that I think intrigued Danny especially, and jump in if you feel like anything, but this is a web-based app. The way that this will work is we will have a QR code. We can take this QR code, we can put this, it'd be small, but it will be consistently branded, it will be very nice looking. Put this at our art installations. Franklin Development Corporation will partner with us on this. Discover Downtown Franklin will partner with us on this. FHI will partner up with us on this. So we will have a multitude of tours in one, and let me see if I can find, it'll look like this. We can design this. We can make this look however we want to make it look. But it will essentially be this thing where we can have multiple tours. So we could have an art tour, we can have a historic tour, we can have a downtown business tour, we can have a haunted tour. FHI can have, when they have the home tour, the garden tour, we can have a temporary tour that we put up. We can have a tour on history. We can have multiple things that all of these organizations will come in and do. Let me find this is one that was done by Pullup in Washington. This is theirs. When you pull up to the stops, you could pull up, this is the way they chose theirs to look. Again, we could make this look however we want to make this look. So they have their stop one. This is an art sculpture piece. There's about the artwork. As you can see on this, they have audio. So we could have audio, they could click on that. It will give you a few seconds of discussion from the artist. Here's the description. When you go on to the next one, here's their next piece, goes down, there's more about the artwork, gives you a little bit of description and so forth and so on. Let me find the other, I've got too many tabs pulled up today. So you'll have a landing page that will look like this. As I said, you could come in, you could learn more, you can download on the web. They chose, this is from Boone, Indiana, they chose to actually have an app, like from the App Store. So we are not, correct me if I'm wrong, we're not gonna do that, right?
Yeah, it's just a web,
It's-
the
we're
QR
just
code
doing
will
the
take
web
you
one.
to a website. They call it a web app, but that's confusing. It's just a website.
So one of the things that we really liked about this, and like I said, this is why I asked Glenn and Dustin to be here today, we can do multiple medias, so we will be able to have, as they had the audio, we will be able to have video. I'm going to have Dustin come up in just a minute and kind of give his thoughts on how that could work and how that blends in. We'll have the photos, as I said, we can build these tours, pull them up, make them live, take them down when we don't want to use them, for example, for the home tour. That's only a certain amount of time, we just want to have a temporary tour. I'm going to let Danny talk about the conference in a little bit, hint, hint, and we'll tell you a little bit more about that, but there's a way that we can use that for special events and things like that, build them up and come down. Essentially, the cost for this, where did my paper go? Is a total of, for a 3-year plan for 3 years, to be able to have this for 3 years, it's $6,736, which breaks down to $187.13 a month. We will be splitting that with PAC. If you guys make that decision, we'll be splitting that with PAC, Discover Downtown Franklin, FHI, and Franklin Development Corporation. So that's going to be split 4 ways, which is obviously going to bring that down very reasonably and very easy to manage and easy to do. As I said, we have total control over this. We can say we have a restaurant tour and the Foundry comes in, and when we built it, we didn't have it. We could easily add that in. We have the Old Town Beer Hall left. We could easily pull it out. So you can make changes as often as you want to, things like that for this cost. Glenn Ferris from FHI is here with us today, and he actually had this program when it started as Pocket Sites. Pocket Sites was bought out by Story, who obviously can't spell, but the worst. But Glenn actually had a subscription on Pocket Sites. When it was Pocket Sites, it's all migrated over. So Glenn, if you wouldn't mind, if you could just come up and just kind of tell us a little bit about the builder, what you think about it, because he's actually been in and been able to do this back-end stuff.
And Glenn, for the record, please say your name and who you're affiliated with.
Glenn Ferris with Franklin Heritage, Inc.
Hold up, Glenn. Now we had a question before we move to you.
Sorry,
you
okay, I
fine?
missed like the last meeting, so is this meant to be like, you only do it virtually, or is this meant to like guide you through the city?
No, it will have a map. You will
Okay.
have it, yeah,
Okay.
Glenn can come
Okay.
and explain that.
Okay.
But you can go and stand over at Middle
And it'll
Davis
tell
Candles.
you- okay,
Right.
okay.
It's geo-connected. I'm probably not using that word
It'll
right.
like say, you were here.
It'll say you
Okay,
were
okay.
here, and this is the art in your area.
So this started as, basically we have the brochures for the art
virtual
district
way.
that are outdated because we've only done it one time, and they get outdated very quickly. This started specifically as just a version of being able to scan a QR code or something for each of our artworks to find the information about it, to be able to self-guide yourself around the artwork. Obviously, it has grown to include a lot of other corporations and ideas, but specifically for PAC, it would be dealing with the art and information about it.
Okay.
Sorry, Glenn.
No, you're fine. So this has a lot more options than when it was Pocket Sites. I guess if you lose all your vowels in your name and add a Q, you can have more features. So you can have, there's a map on the website, so you can, if you're not present, you can scroll around and see where they are located before you go on the tour, which is always nice. You can do a self-guided or a guided tour option on this app, which is nice. So you can do a self-guided walk around, or you can, if you do the guided option, if you're like doing tours with either FHI or DDF or whatever, you can set a timer almost. So every stop it plays or something like that. The audio tracks are super nice because you can add in lots of different types of audio and video in it and other links. So all the organizations can input their data right on there and have it all hosted. Editing is very easy now. It was very clunky back when it was Pocket Sites, as it was just a free application. So they've really improved the back face looking a lot. It's very easy to edit now, so that's a lot nicer. Let me see what else is different on here.
And then Glenn, correct, if once you've created that tour, but you don't want to have it published, it doesn't go away. All that data stays.
Yeah, you can
Yeah, so-
mark a tour as live or not. So like right now I have like 3 draft tours on the Story platform that aren't live on the internet. So they're easy to,
So anyone who wants to create the content, though, that becomes your responsibility. If you want to add a tour, you have to.
yeah, it's up to the organization to create the tour, which is normally just including adding stops, adding text, images, and whatever else you guys want to add.
Yeah, Dana mentioned the cost of $6,736 for the app itself. The additional cost will be for the signage, because we want to have signs everywhere with the QR codes, and also the content creation. Whether we hire someone like Dustin or do it in-house, there'll be some effort involved in creating that content to build those. Good news is, like, for example, Festival Country already has 6 tours that we've created that we could just input that,
Yeah.
add some photos. So
You
I think it's
give a lot
doable.
more info on the app than you can on like a brochure, because you're limited by text and size, and here you can add in, and if you want to add in an audio option that, like with a voiceover to make it more accessible, I like that part a lot. And if anyone wants to see the backside, let me know.
And last night, Festival Country committed $5,000 towards the cost of this project, so we already have a great start.
Yeah. So does anybody have any questions for? So, like I said, as part of this, as part of what Glenn was talking about and the robustness of this, we did reach out to Dustin specifically for the art pieces. As Glenn was explaining to Vicki, while we have 4 partners, there won't be a free-for-all. It won't be just anybody can get in and change content. It will be very controlled who the administrators are. I will be the primary on this, so that I'll be responsible for keeping it up, but I'll be working with Dave and Danny and Ken and Krista and kind of keeping that coordinated, keeping the reminders to, we need to update and check and make sure that, if a building has done. I do that now with the available properties for Discover Downtown Franklin and FTC. So it's real easy to just flip those out so they could be done all the time. But as we're putting this together, one of the things that we talked about with doing our self-guided tour was 2 things were pretty consistent. We did not want to have the visitor have to pay. This is to enhance a visitor's experience. And as we talked about last night at Festival Country's board meeting, they were asked, is this something that you think could draw people? And I think they're not going to come because of the app, but they're going to come because of a festival. They're going to find it. They're going to realize there's more. And then I think there's a very good possibility they'll say, you know what, let's just take a Saturday afternoon and come to Franklin and we can do this tour, or we can do that tour. So it's not going to entice in a first-time visitor, but there's a very good possibility that it will entice a return visit, which is what we were focusing on. And I think, I hope I'm not speaking on, that's kind of the importance to Festival Country and having people come back is to have that returning visitor.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyone who's been to like a destination, you may leave with a not positive impression if there's just wasn't anything to do there. So for example, I went to Cheyenne, Wyoming, and they had giant 20-foot tall boots that were decorated in different ways. And I thought that was cool, number one, but the really cool part was that you could do something like this. You could call, they had it phone-based, you could call a number and the artist would speak and give you like 60 seconds on their inspiration. So that was really immersive, and it gave me a positive impression of Cheyenne, that there was something to do and it could kill a couple of hours and you'd enjoy it. So I think, like Dana says, this will give people a positive impression, and they may come back, since we have 10 tours, and do another one or two another day.
I do want to make a point. I know a lot of us here wear a lot of hats. You guys are more hats than I do. But as far as like the pack is concerned, this will mainly be used for an art tour. We're lucky in that it can be shared and used by other organizations, but this group is going to be managing that, and specifically with Dustin talking about the costs as insofar as what it has to do with that art app. These other things, a lot of these neat things that we're talking about won't really be managed or done by the Arts Commission.
And where would access to this be housed? So if you were in Seymour and wanted to come visit Franklin, would it be on each website or?
Correct, yeah, so we will have, obviously, Festival Country does a great job of promoting the communities. They'll have it, we will have it on the city's website. Danny will have it on, it'll be on FHI's, it'll be on FTC's, it'll be on DDF's. We'll
And the
do-
goal would be for it to be available on every single piece of artwork as well. So
Absolutely, on
you
some
could,
way with the QR codes.
you could come across it
Right,
at any point.
yeah, so you can pull it up, and because it is web-based, just like these, I'm not in Boone, Indiana, but I can pull up the tour, so I can see it. And maybe if you do something like that, and you catch a blurb on Facebook, and oh, this looks really cool, and you pull it up, and you're like, this is amazing, I want to go see this.
Yeah.
So that kind of thing. So I do want to ask Dustin to come up, because we have spoken to him specifically for PAC, because he has kind of a proposal for us and some of his ideas on how to do the video with the artists and his thoughts on that. So if you could just let us know what you think, Dustin.
Okay.
Oh, and as Ken says, tell us who you are and
Sure.
who you're with.
You know who I am. No. I'm Dustin Brenton with Brenton Creative. I was contacted by Dana and the council to discuss doing video for this app. One of the things I want to point out before we start talking about exactly what the videos are and cost and whatnot is the usage of the videos. So while we're talking about doing this for the app specifically, these videos can live outside of the app. So if let's say, we're creating it for the banners that are up, and then we're taking down these banners, they're not going back up again, we can still use those and create a YouTube page, put them on there. We can use them on our social media accounts to draw people to Franklin and say, put something on there of like, here's this art. Do you want to see more? Come to Franklin. Like that's something that like Festival Country could post and try to pull people in to let them know, to educate them about these tours. Because people need to learn about them somehow other than just a QR code in a business window or a flyer at Festival Country. This is going to bring people in. So as far as the videos, what we had talked about was if we get video of Greg Potter and Patrick Tisdale and Danny and whatnot around town in front of their murals, in front of the banners, and just discussing kind of whether it's their inspiration, whether it's something specific to Franklin, something specific to their artwork, it's just something interesting that you want to learn about the artist and add a little more personal appeal other than just, oh, there's a piece of art. Oh, there's a piece of art. You want to hear a little bit more about whether it's the artist or the actual art. The videos, we're not looking to make 30-minute documentaries. If you're think about being at a museum and you push that button to watch a little video, and once it goes a little longer, you're like, all right, I've seen enough, and you want to walk on. So I know, maybe that's just me. I don't know. That's my short attention span. But we were thinking, 30 seconds to a minute is kind of the length of the video that we're looking at. Because you get any longer than that, and people have the attention span of a goldfish. They're like ready to move on. So while we may take some video of somebody talking for 5-10 minutes, we'll cut it down to make it somewhere around 30. We're not stuck and stupid on it has to be a minute or whatever. If it's a minute 5, that's fine. We discussed doing about, at least for the original first agreement, about 10 to 15 videos and trying to do them in 2 days. That's a lot of it is just to be able to have 2 days to schedule the artists, give them 2 options to, when they're available to come out and talk. We also want to get them done, at least the first round started before we take down the banners. Because I know they come down, or especially around the well, they come down for the Christmas lights. So we want to make sure we get them up, or get the videos done. And then there's some that aren't going back up, so we want to get those done as well. So, yeah, so 10 to 15 videos, 30 seconds to a minute long, and you guys have full use of the videos. After we're done, we don't own any rights to them. They are yours. So we hand over the files, you do what you want with them. More than happy to help as far as when we're uploading them to the app or creating YouTube, whatever we need to do. I'm not just gonna be like, here you go, see it. So with the estimated cost of 10 to 15 videos, two-day shoot, like I said, 30 seconds to a minute long, we're looking at somewhere between $6,120 to $8,220. I know that seems like a big range, but it's a two-day shoot and it's 10 to 15 videos, so we're not real sure how many we have. We do 10, it's the lower end. We do 15, it's higher, So anything after that, individual videos that we come back out and shoot later, we're looking at around $1,400. Now, there's cost savings in if we have more than one artist. So if we're just coming out just to do one because we put a new mural up and we need to go talk to that one artist, then it's $1,400. But if we have the new banners go up and there's a new mural, so we have several artists, then there's cost savings in that. So there's two different costs that we look at when we're doing videos. There's the cost of the coming out for the shoot, the actual day, and then the edits, and how much it costs for the edits afterwards. So I think that kind of covers it. If you had any questions, let me know about the videos, what they are, how you can use them. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. So
I had a question, Dustin. With targeting 10 to 15 videos the first time, wouldn't we focus on things that will be there permanently, like murals and alleys, versus banners that, as you said, may not come back up? Like, why would, if this content needs to live on and we're investing this, why wouldn't we do like the 10 to 15 biggest, best things to start?
Sure. That's up to you guys, right? Like, I'm open to either one. The idea of getting the banners that are coming down is to retain that legacy of what we've started and to allow those artists and those pieces of art to live on beyond just the 3 years that they've been up here. So if we're and we could use, that's why I was saying we could also use those videos for social media to bring people in. We can use those videos to post on our website. We can use them however we want to. But also to, like I said, just to kind of, well, most of the videos, yes, they'll be of the murals and stuff. I think there's 2, 3 artists, something like that, that are not going to be back up. So in the grand scheme of 15 videos, we're looking at 2 or 3 of them that won't be used again. I could be wrong. Dana can correct me on that.
No,
Number, but
I was going to say, yeah, the banners specifically are an example of art that is not permanent, and part of, I think, the reason for doing this was to, in some way, enshrine that art in a permanent way. So in my opinion, doing something like the banners is as or more important than the more permanent artwork, so that we can keep a record of that. Something else to keep in mind as far as those videos and the numbers that Dustin is giving, there's a lot of artists that have done multiple pieces, multiple, Greg himself has done multiple banners, and murals and things like that. So I think hearing those numbers, it's actually like we're representing quite a bit of art with a smaller number of individuals, because those individuals have created multiple pieces.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you think of Luann Leitz, who's done like most of the electrical boxes and things like that. So she will have, it'll be one artist but she has a lot that she's representing in that. Greg has 2 murals and the banners. His banners are not going to be coming back up. So I do love the idea of creating that permanent legacy of that. The ones that are kind of maybe just a one, Danny has the one, Ben Franklin down there.
Right.
We have the tree out on Commerce Drive. That's one, that artist only did that one. But the majority of everything else, they've done multiples. Chrissy's got multiples, Patrick's got multiples, things like that.
Just to clarify what we're committing to,
it kind of sounds like we're giving you an on-call contract to video all future pieces, which is fine. If the first round is good, why not continue to use the same person? But how often do we need to be I don't know, like reevaluating this kind of like on-call service? Like, is this something that we come back once a year and say like, hey, let's use Dustin again? And okay, yeah, let's use Dustin again. Or is this something where like every 2 years, 3 years? I'm a little unclear on that.
And I agree with what you're saying, because what I'm proposing right now is just the first 10 to 15 videos. I gave the price of what ongoing ones are, just so you know. If we do these 10 to 15 and you're like, hey, that guy sucks, which I don't. But no, if you get to that, or for some reason there's budget changes or new people come in, somebody, whatever, we're only committing to these first ones. The idea of the ongoing thing is just the understanding of what it costs for ongoing. So, yeah.
This is also going to be, because it's run through the city, it will be PAC funds, because we do have that in our budget, but it is still a contract, so it still goes through the Board of Works and things like that. And they will want, here's the contract for this year, and then we'll look at if we do anything to go to next year and things like that.
So it'll be an annual renewal kind of
I
thing.
see it as being an annual, as we need it
As
needed.
thing.
Yeah, because, we have new art that goes up almost every year, some sort of new banner, some sort of mural. And that's what I was saying, like, if there's just one mural that goes up, I know, like, JCCF does the paint the town color, whatever it is. There's usually at least one each year that we do. But this is Franklin specific, so like the one that they did this year was in Bargersville. Well, it doesn't really count for us, because we're being Franklin specific, so. There may be a year where we don't need a new one, and there may be years where we need more. So, yeah.
And Nick, obviously with 10 tours on this story app, as an example, our team has some expertise in this, and we'll be doing videos at no charge. So if next year we want to do some physical art and we cannibalize the budget, we could always just take some of that in-house and not have to pay for it next year. Our person is not available at this time to do some of these rush things, so I think that'd be one reason to support like this one-time thing, but we wouldn't be tied to that. Question, Dustin, is like the intersection art, is that one of the on the list?
I would
think
love
we
to
should-
put that one on there as
Yeah.
well. The other thing I wanted to point out was, and I didn't talk about the kind of the technical aspect of doing the video. We also discussed, putting the drone in the air to get some really good shots of the art. So if somebody's standing in front of like the one Patrick did right by Tevi, which is not there anymore, but the mural in the alleyway, it might be kind of hard to see if you're close to it, but if we get a mural shot of it in the video, it helps the people standing there be able to see it. It's the same with the with Nick Abstract's street art. I mean, if we get the mural or the drone flying straight up, looking straight down at it, that's
This is
more
all
added.
public art, all public.
Yeah, so
Yep.
Dustin would be specifically working for our group with the artwork. I think it would be up to the other groups to decide how
But
they're
nobody
doing
has to give
their.
permission.
More than happy to work with the other clients if they're here.
I don't remember, so I know Dana sent out an email, I'm not sure if that was commission-wide or a smaller group, of the areas that I think we were going to be talking about, the artists and the artwork and stuff. So if that hasn't been shared to everybody,
Yeah, we can
that
send
that
that
is
out.
available,
Right,
what
it is.
our list is.
Yeah, I can't remember who all, to be honest, who I sent it to, but that's what we were thinking of. And honestly, Ken hit the nail right on the head. This is something that as we go on, we can kind of have more length of time. The reason why I kind of feel like we're in a little bit of a time crunch, obviously, is because we do have some of the banners and things that we want to catch. They're going to be going down in November, and they won't be back up until next spring. And then obviously, like I said, Greg's banners won't be going back at all. So if we want to get them, we need to get them now. The second reason is because I think aesthetically, we really don't want to have video of somebody standing out in a snow pile in a heavy coat. I would love to have them with beautiful fall leaves and have it really pretty. So kind of the weather is also a constraint on that. The way that it's set up right now, we would pay Story, it's a $400 one-time setup fee. So that sets us up in the builder, that gives us the access to start working with it. Then we just need to give them a date and say, we're going to go live with our videos next May, or something like that. So then in May is when that total $187 will start to come into play. So that's not even this year. So our cost for this year is to get the content and get things created. And as Danny said, I did go to Festival Country last night and request a grant, and they were very gracious, very supportive. So they have given us a grant of $5,000. So initially for this budget year, our cost will be the cost for Dustin, if you choose to do that, and then the $400 to get the builder and get us set up in it. As Ken said, a lot of content we already have. We already have artists, most of these, I went back and looked, I have artist bios on almost all of the artists. I think the only one I don't have is, and I could get this from Tara, is the one for the tree. I don't have that, but Tara does, so that's no problem to pick that up. So most of the content, written content, we have the majority of for the arts. I'm not speaking for the other things. We can go ahead, as long as we get one, you know, if we're focusing right now with this body of getting the arts ones done, FTC can set their time frame for when they want to get theirs done. You know, the FHI can set their time frame, Nanny can set his time frame, et cetera. So we're really looking at right now to get this started as getting this content, the video content, the photos. We do have a lot of professional photos already, which is great. So we have a lot of this. It's just we have zero video, nothing in that kind of category. And Dustin has been really good about helping us and helping to get that started. Glenn is going to help us kind of get that. They do provide support. They do provide training. Glenn, did you feel like you said it was pretty self-intuitive, this new one, and yeah, you really didn't feel like it was, yeah.
Just drag and drop.
Okay, I like that.
You can even import from Word.
Oh, that's impressive. So, yeah, so that's kind of where that is coming. That's our focus for this year. Like I said, the subscription, paying for the 3-year plan won't start until next year.
So Dana, from what we discussed before the meeting, it seems that we have $4,000 in this year's budget that is not being used for anything else that
Correct,
we
it's
could
not
commit.
committed for anything.
So would that be the motion, that we would commit $4,000 to this project, and then you would figure out the contract?
Correct.
Because we wouldn't be able to pay the whole contract.
Right, well, we'll have the portion we can take a portion of the money from Festival Country with the grant, so.
So if we were to move forward with Dustin, would we do 6,120 or 8,220 with Dustin?
I think that it would be good to say that we're going to do the 8,000, because as Dustin said, that's the high end. So it would basically be, the contract would be a not to exceed.
Yes.
So it would be a maximum of the 8,000, and then odds are pretty good it'll be in that middle range is what I think.
Okay. Are there any other questions?
I have a question
Okay.
as an outside entity looking to partner in on this. Dana, you mentioned that May of '26, is that when the payments would begin?
If that is when we tell them we want the first one up. So whenever we
Okay.
get the first ones up, that's when it would start.
So you would look for funding from outside, from your partners to begin?
Right.
In potentially May or whenever it is that we tell them to launch this?
Correct. So that's
Thank you.
what, I mean, as part of this too, we still need to have that full entity, FDC, DDF, Festival Country, FHI. We all need to come together to kind of get that final date, so when everybody's comfortable. But it's when whoever gets there first, basically. So when that first tour goes live, that's when those will start. And the only, it's not even a problem, it's just, we just got to be realistic. That's the only stipulation, is we pay the $400, we get the builder, we get everything ready to go. We just have to tell them at that time, we are committing to the first tour going up in whatever. Dady, did you want to talk about the conference coming up and kind of what our goals are with using this and that?
Yeah, so we landed a conference for next year that's be about 400 people. So we want to have a tour for that. It's the Indiana Historic Preservation Conference. So that's like just an example of something that will be an added value to our city when these folks come. And we have some other conferences that are starting to come to the city now. So just off the top of my head, I know the Recorders had a conference and the Chamber Executives had a conference. That this won't be ready for those, but starting next year, things like that we'll be ready for.
And I did put up on the screen, just to let you know, this is not some fly-by-night company. When Story bought them, even though they can't spell, they seem to have a really good product. And you can see some of these, you have George O'Keeffe Museum, you have Yale College, you have the U.S. Forestry Service, you have Walt Disney using this. So you have huge, major people using this, all the way down to Boone, Indiana. Shelbyville has this. Columbus has a tour on this that is just of their airport. Well, they have like 3 or 4, but they have, one of them is their airport. It's like 4 stops, but it's their airport. Cummins actually, through Columbus, has a tour for new employees. Of course, they have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people, but they have a tour on this so that when you're a new employee, they introduce you to Columbus, they introduce you to their campus, they have you go around to the different stops, and it's a self-guided thing. So, I mean, it's used in multiple ways, but these are very A-list companies using this, which that also gives me a lot of confidence in this product.
And to give you some assurance that we would have tours available and up and running in May, if Shelby from our team was given access, we've already actually developed 6 tours, architecture haunted, signs, many of which Danny designed. So we could actually have those up probably in the next 2 months. So then art would be the 7th one. And then, so I think we're really ready to launch this if approved. So I would want somebody to entertain a motion to approve $4,000 of our funds, as well as a contract for $8,220 to Dustin, if that is the will of this group.
So moved.
Moved by Danny. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Nick. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, let's get this going.
Yeah, so Dustin, I'll be in touch with you. The next process is we'll have to work together to get a contract that I need to take it to the mayor, and then we'll have it, because it is a city contract, so we'll do all that.
Okay.
Fun administrative stuff.
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right, Ken being Ken, I'm going to go off script and ask the mayor to come up, please.
Thank you.
Our organization,
Contract.
Our organization, Festival Country, has created a 250th poster because next year is going to be a momentous year, the 250th anniversary of our country, and we wanted to do something to celebrate that. So we created these posters, and I wanted to present one to you to have in City Hall or your office or wherever you'd like to put it. So.
Oh, very nice.
Appreciate that, and I really. Steve Barnett, Mayor City of Franklin. I really appreciate this group. I was just sitting back there thinking on how, when it got started and how far it's really come and just what it's done for the community. And we just seen it the other day with the alley with all the people that showed up and the veterans. And it's pretty cool what you guys do and how hard you work to try to make our city better. So thank you, and we will put this up somewhere where it's visible. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, our next meeting will be December 11th. The Community Art Group will meet immediately following this meeting, and as well as November 13th, tentatively. The Programming Committee will meet October 23rd, 8 a.m. at Coffee House 5, and again on November 20th. Is there anything else?
I just want to thank you for including me. I'm not in the arts community, but I certainly have learned a lot about it, and it's been an enjoyable process. I appreciate it.
Yeah, we value your service, everybody.
For some clarity on the October date for the programming committee, we did meet already this October. Is that date still stand?
Yeah, well, I was going to send out an email just to make sure you guys still wanted to. I didn't know if we wanted to kind of start putting together some work on the tour and things like that, and just, it's mainly a placeholder, so if we need time to do that, we can do that. But I'll get that out.
I think, and we should have it to talk about some of the programming at Parks and Rec.
Oh, okay.
So we're changing up how we're doing the fun guide, so kind of,
Oh, okay.
we're, after starting the beginning of 2026, we're doing it January through June, and then July through end of the year.
Oh, okay.
So I know Courtney and Nick, basically right now, they're planning the first 6 months of next year of programming, so it might be helpful to talk about that and kind of any of that. I know the next couple of months, we have a handful of art programs, but it might be helpful to talk about that, especially now that we have it set in stone that we're basically planning,
Right.
you know,
No, that's a
the next
good
6
point.
months.
Yeah, yeah, because we've partnered, for those of you that don't know, we do partner with them. And they do the actual physical event, and we are coming alongside them and helping with getting the right artists, getting the ideas together and the plans. It's the best way to do
I
it.
know Courtney, there's a lot of ideas that Courtney's had, like doing like a children-friendly paint and sip or whatever, like cookies and canvas that she's talked about. So I know that she's got a ton of ideas,
Okay.
and Nick too for upcoming. So that might be, that might be helpful.
So I'll send out an email to the programming committee and kind of give you guys the rundown of kind of what we're looking at and make sure that works for everybody. Okay. Yeah, awesome.
All right, anything else? All right, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
By Vicky,
I'll second.
second by Danny. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you all.
I don't know the words to say to
Of the programming?
do the